All right, what's up? What's up, everybody? Maybe an echo. Let me mute it real quick. There we go. All right, so watching today, NBEV is really pushing up here. It's gapping up from 313 to 356, and so I'm definitely going to be watching NBEV. VIPS is gapping up from 535 to 566. I'm going to be watching that one as well. Also going to keep an eye on COTY. It's gapping up some from 870 to 896. AMD, which is about break even. Going to be watching the cannabis stocks like ACB, gapping up a little bit here. Faded nicely three times yesterday. Really pretty fades yesterday for ACB. I really wish I was watching it. Hindsight is 2020. AMRN gapping up some from 1612 to 1710. We got ARNA gapping some from 3252 to 3745. We got PXS gapping down some. We got JCP gapping down some. ORCL popping up on my scanners, gapping up from 48.84 to 50.55. ACRX is popping up on my scanners, but it's not really moving that much here. And then we have QURE, which is gapping up from 22.80 to 28.74 right now. So it looks interesting. We'll see what else we can find this morning. SHLD. What happened to the... Does it have a Q behind it? What happened to the... If it does, what happened to the original Sears stock, which was SHLD with no Q? Did it get delisted? It's not showing up when I try to type it in. Weird. Yes. Okay, so it was delisted. That makes sense, John. Yeah, I mean, if I was Sears, I don't know what I would do. They could take it private. They could make it a private company, and that way, the speculation on whether Sears was going to become obsolete wouldn't be there, and they could run it privately. And I could understand that, I guess. But really, it all just depends on what their revenue is at this point. I think most brick and mortar stores will eventually become obsolete due to online retailers like Amazon, and just the online retail market. I think is going to make a lot of physical stores obsolete, like Barnes and Noble, Sears. And this is all just speculation, but I think that's inevitable to a certain extent after the rise of online retail. Most people buy Christmas gifts online at this point. And so I think, like I said, I think physical stores will eventually close down, but it's all speculation. What's up, Two-Way, Netron, John, Outsiders, Sultan, what's up, brother? Rice, Mikey, Frank, Don, Frank, Foy, good morning, everybody. All right, so yeah, we got a few stuff. I'm not loving today's market. It's not like... it's not like the most voluminous market, but there's a few things I can watch here. We'll see what we get. What's up, KC? What's up, the best? Good morning, guys. But like I said, it's not like the most voluminous market ever, but there's still a few things to trade. I wish NBEV was tradable. It's not tradable for me today. But, I can trade, let's see. I can trade AMRN, Cron, ACB, CGC, COTY, I can trade that one. AMD, I can trade that one. RRC. The ones I'm really bummed out about are ARNA and NBEV. They're both not tradable. Yeah, and LMFA could just completely gave it back yesterday. This is what you call a gap fill. You can just see this thing just fills the entire gap back down. Gaps up, opens up the next morning, and then this thing just fills the entire gap. Usually I would play it if it had a VWAP fade, but it just didn't. Let me know if you all see anything else I missed so far. What's up, Lewis? And Tap. I'm mostly a short trader. I mean, I went long like a week or two ago with a VWAP bounce, and I know the VWAP bounce, but at this point, I just gotta stick to what works. You know, I just try to stick to what works, and going short works for me, and so I just try to stick to the strategy works. I'm just gonna ride that one out until it stops working. I think if traders try to make their trading style too broad, that's when they really mess up. You know, they get tempted by the market to jump in trades they normally wouldn't, and then that affects their trading. And so I just try to stick with what works, which is a few different short strategies: VWAP projection, VWAP fade. Sometime the last long trade I got into was a VWAP bounce, and it was a profitable trade as well. But I just feel like the accuracy is higher for shorts. You know, I have my little niche in the market. Here's the thing. In TAP, it all depends on what the daily chart looks like. I mean, the daily chart doesn't look that bad. It could pull back some here. I guess I like the daily chart for a short, but I mean, it's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red days in a row, and it's gapping down. And so I just feel like, you know, I feel like the momentum may be on the upside, but it does have some support here at 72. And so that one's interesting. We'll see what happens with it. I mean, I don't know, Lewis. This is just speculation, man. This is just, you know, kind of my way of approaching shorts is I look for overextended stocks on the upside, and I like to short those as opposed to like big gapping down stocks. You know, I tend to think gapping down stocks are going to push up more. But there's always outliers, you know, like this thing could very easily, especially if it breaks under the $72 level, it could continue to go down. And so I always say I'm not trying to give stock picks or anything like that. I'm just telling people my opinion on stuff. What's up, Ben? Yeah, so Lewis, the overextended ones. I mean, I just look for big gap ups, man. You know, I just look for gap ups. Look at the daily chart and see how extended it is on the daily chart. You know, so I just look at this, see if it's over 10% gap up. Look at the daily chart. I mean, I don't know if this one would be extended. We'll see. LMFA. We'll see what that one does. NBEV. I like this one a little bit more, maybe down to the 170s, but we'll see. But yeah, like my kind of mentality is to look for big overextended gap ups and then short them when they fill the gap. Like I guess if you look at LMFA here, it's probably one of the better examples. You can see it gapped up, you know, a huge amount relative to its price, and then it just completely filled the gap on the way down. And so when I trade VWAP fades, I just look for it to pull back to the VWAP a little bit here, and then just keep going back down. Yeah, no stress, Lewis. Biggest percentage gainers, the difference between that and up gappers are that the biggest percentage gainers here is that it's stocks that are up, but they're not necessarily gapping up. So a lot of times a stock will just move up during the market hours, and then it won't really move in pre-market, and then it'll move up again in market hours. And so it's not necessarily gapping up; it's just moving up. You know, a gap up is let's see, is you can look at ANRA and see this is a gap up here. You know, because it closed at 32.52 and it's sitting at 37.91 now, so it's gapping up about $5.30, 40 cents. All right, so I guess I'm kind of watching ACB here. We'll see what happens, you know. It faded a few times yesterday. You can see I really like these two fades from yesterday on ACB. That first one was really pretty. You can see the fade here, here, and kind of here. And so I would have loved to get in those. Tight risk. In this one I could have set my risk at 635 here. Reward at the low of the day. And so big risk. Or big reward, small risk. Here I maybe could have set my risk here, but it wouldn't quite be a VWAP fade, but the risk would have been tight. So if this one has the potential to fade, I'm definitely going to start watching ACB. It's one of the cheaper cannabis penny stocks. Why the market has been red for the last 2 days? I mean, this day really wasn't that bad. I mean, Tuesday really wasn't that bad. Wednesday, the market took a little bit of a hit. Tuesday really wasn't that bad. I mean, Monday was probably worse than Tuesday. It's just been a down week. I mean, these kind of fluctuations happen. If you look at the daily chart on the SPY, I mean, market's been a little bit of a downtrend the last 4 days. And so we'll see if it bounces. It's got some resistance at that 281 level. But it may have some support here at 270s too. We'll see what happens. How can you make your VWAP like that, Lewis? To make your VWAP, you just go to Studies. You go to Studies here on Thinkorswim. You go to Trend Studies. And you go to VWAP. You go to the V's, look for VWAP, and then you can just put it up. If you're on Thinkorswim, though, you're going to have to disable the upper and lower plot. And so you could just go to Edit, go to Upper Band, unclick Show Plot, Lower Band, unclick Show Plot, go to Apply, click OK, and your VWAP will be there like mine. Alright, guys. So we're going to look up the news in just a second. Today's news is brought to you by SnapTrade, and we do have Ben from SnapTrade here in the chat. So if you don't know what SnapTrade is, it's a pretty cool free website for traders to use. It's 100% free, and it has a lot of different really cool stuff for you to take advantage of. First thing is that it has news for stocks, right? So you can look up a stock here. You can get to that stocks page like QURE, and then it'll show you the most recent news that came out. You can see QURE has top line data that came out. And it has a dose confirmation study, so it sounds like that data was positive, and QURE is gapping up. It also shows you like when earnings came out, when news stories came out, you know, what the technical catalyst is for that certain time, and then it also compares it with the overall market down here, so I thought that was really cool. Plus, if you go down, you can see earnings, analysts, stuff, similar stocks to that. And it even has historical prices here, so you can like keep track of it with the news. And so I thought that was really cool that SnapTrade offers. And like I said, this is 100% free. What I really like using SnapTrade for is I like building my watch list there each morning. You can see I build my watch list each morning on SnapTrade, and I share it with a decent amount of traders. And so if you want my watch list shared with you a little bit earlier than the stream, let me know. You can email me at beginnertrading.com or beginnertrading@gmail.com, and I will send you my watch list each morning if you're interested. But yeah, you know, when you build a watch list, like I can add ACB if I don't already. You can just add it. It's really easy. You go to add ticker, and it adds it pretty quick, and then it shows you, you know, the different. You can see it added it right here. It shows you the market cap, volume change percentage, volume, where it's at in relation to the 52-week high, the technical signal. Really easy to remove stocks too. Like say I wanted to remove Tahoe, I can just click this X here, and it's off my watch list, and I can just move on. So really cool. But you can see Ben shares his swing trading watch list with me as well, and so it's a social watch list sharing and building platform. So I thought that was really cool. It also has scanners, so you can see upcoming earnings, crypto, gap ups if you like trading gap ups like me. high gainer penny stocks, high gainer volatile stocks, recent earnings. So regardless of what sector you're interested in trading, they typically have a scan for it. And so go check them out. Really cool free scanner. Like I said, we have Ben here from SnapTrade in the chat. And there's the link right there if anybody wants to see it. Alright, so I guess I'm watching RRC. RRC ended up fading nicely yesterday. I kind of just missed it. Just kind of looking at the scanner, see if anything else can pop up here. See if I can find anything else I like. PAAS. Some people were talking about this one yesterday. It's starting to move some. And PAAS is tradable, so maybe I'll watch this one. It's Pan American Silver Corporation, I think, right? It's either company or corporation. I just see CO. But yeah, gonna watch NIO as well, maybe too. Only gotten one trade yesterday. My green streak is finished, but it was a tiny loss yesterday. So I'm just happy I went on a 5-day winning streak in the first place. But it finished yesterday with this squeeze. It was going well for me. What stock was it? AMRS. Yesterday's trade was going well for me. You can see I got in here. I wrote it down to 420 or so and took some profits, and then tried to let the rest work, but I got caught in this massive squeeze right here. But if you saw me, I took profits. I only ended like $1.50 down yesterday, so not a bad way to end the green streak. I could have tried to force something else to maintain that green streak, but I just figured I was done. Didn't see too much else I really liked. So not going to force it, trying to keep that green streak going, but happy I went on it in the first place. So let me see if we get anything else decent today. ESIO. No, I mean, this one's not really gapping up. ESIO is actually completely break even. So like the way you can tell if it's gapping up is, first off, like you can see this one's gapping down. You can see this gray area here is where you're going to see the gap, right? So you can see NTAP is actually gapping down some here. You know, you can see it closed right here at 78.03 and it's currently at 72.25, so it's actually gapping down some. ESIO, it closed at 29.05 and it's at 29.05 now, and so it's completely break even. It hasn't moved at all in pre-market. You can see ARNA is gapping up. You know, you can see this one's gapping up from 32.50s to 39. And then QURE, a few people mentioned that one, gapping up from 22.80 down here to 28.07. ANY gapped yesterday. It's actually gapping down some now, but I mean, it's moving a little bit here. I do think it may be a little bit extended. Appreciate the sub 3. Welcome, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, I do think we'll see if it's a little extended. Depends on the daily chart. I mean, I like it because every single time it pushes up, it comes right back down. You know, if you look at the daily chart, spike up, fail, spike up, fail, spike up, fail. Spike up, fail, and so it never really holds its gains. I think a lot of people are watching ANY to see if it actually holds. So I got a lot of questions. I'll try to get to all of them. So first one I see is, I saw AMD on your watch list. Can you show us your plans with it? AMD, the reason this one's on my watch list is because this one has been fading a lot. First, I'm going to look at the daily. I mean, it's down a lot from its lows, or from its highs. It's had 2 green days in a row. We'll see if it pulls back some here. But the reason I was watching AMD is because it fades a lot. You know, rejection here, VWAP rejection here. Beautiful fade on this day, on the 12th right here. You can see fade here, fade here. Zoom in a little bit, you can see the fade a little bit more clearly. Go into the day before, faded here again. Kind of faked a fade out that day, but the point is that I've been watching this one and it actually fades a decent amount, and so I might look at it for a fade. I usually don't like trading it, but yeah, even this day was perfect. You could see pretty fade here and here, and so this one shows the potential to fade. It fades a decent amount, and so for that reason, you know, I'll probably end up watching it, and it's on my watch list. I don't know about the daily chart. I mean, I still think it's down a lot from its highs, and so maybe it'll move up some. We'll see. Thoughts of creating a chat room outside of YouTube? I mean, I don't know. You know, like I guess, yeah, we do classes and stuff, but it's like, if you're talking about me doing one, like I feel like we do classes and everything, but I feel like I want to keep the YouTube thing free. Like I want to keep everything free on YouTube because I feel like that would be like a betrayal to the people that have been here for so long if I started having like a chat room outside of YouTube. And so I like YouTube's platform. I don't want to start charging people for something I'm already giving people for free. And you know, I'd rather just keep it free. You know, I'm not necessarily opposed to doing it, but like I said, I'd probably rather just keep it free, so traders have like a free option to go to for the first few hours of the day. You know. All right, so we got about 15 minutes until the open. We'll see what we get today. Oh yeah, watching VIPS. VIPS looks okay. I like it. It's gapping up. Big range, over 10%. It's gapping up about, you know, about 40 cents. Not a little bit under 20 cent or 20 or 10%, but it still looks okay. Gap up. A little bit of volume. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the only hesitancy I have towards the KG is because not even that. I mean, I definitely understand that. I'll look up the news in a second, but if you look at the daily chart, I mean, it's had two green days in a row and everything, but it's also down a lot from its highs, and so I think it may start to turn back up a little bit here. We'll see. Who knows? The only reason, like I said, I'm watching it is because I've been observing it for the last the last 2 weeks or so. And it just fades off the VWAP a lot, and like that's my favorite strategy is the VWAP fade. You can see it faded numerous times here, and just kind of does it a lot. And so did it here as well. Did it here and here. That's a little rejection though. That's a rejection, but same concept. It also VWAP bounced a few times here, so did it twice here, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And so I guess what I'm noticing with this one is that if it fades once during the day, and I guess this is just my little thesis, but like if it fades once during the day and it gets back up to the VWAP, it typically holds that trend and can fade again on the same day. And so if I was going to build a plan around AMD, it would probably be to look for one fade. If it does fade, wait for it to get back up to the VWAP and use it that way. Because every day I see this thing fade once. Like here's a good example. It faded once here. And then the next few times it got back up to the VWAP here, here, and here. It faded really nicely and kept falling. And so I guess the logical conclusion you could come from that is that once it gets in a downtrend, it stays with it for the most of the time. Here's another example here, here, here. It just kept going. And so it's just about building theses around around your plan, and I think that makes sense. It just depends on how good the news was. We'll look that up in a second. Yeah, we have a Discord, but that's usually just to send people the class links. We talk a little bit in it, but it's not like we use it as like a normal chat room, I would say. All right, guys, we still got about 13 minutes until the open. Gonna be watching AMD, probably what is it, AMD and VIPS. Both of these are gapping up. We'll see what happens with them, but they're both gapping up okay here. Or this one's gapping up. This one's moving, I should say, about break even. Gonna keep an eye on CGC, Cron, ACB as well. They're gapping down a little bit, but they don't look too bad. You also have COTY. Mason says, how can I add the VWAP fade to my chart? So the VWAP fade is just a strategy. It's just a strategy that we use. You can add the VWAP to your chart, and if you have Thinkorswim, it's easy. You just you go to Studies right here. You click the little Studies button. You go to Add Study. You go to Trend Studies, and then you go to VWAP. KOLD. Yeah, I mean, KOLD is gapping up. It's looks like an ETF though. Yeah, no stress, Mason. No worries, man. CSIQ. I mean, it just doesn't have that much volume for me. It did gap up some, but it gave it back. So like it's currently at 1380. And so at one point, and what you got to understand, Lewis, is that this gray area, this is just pre-market. You know, some traders, some brokers allow you to trade, so you see some movement in stocks, right? AMRN is a good example. Like look at AMRN here. You can see it closed here, right where the gray area starts, and it's currently at 17. And so it closed around 16, and now it's at 17. So it's gapping up about $1. Let's see, we got NLNK making a little bit of moves here. Alright guys, I'm going to run to the restroom. I'll be back in like a few minutes. Alright, I'm back. But yeah, main watches, maybe AMRN, maybe AMD, VIPS, ACB maybe. NBEV looks good if you can trade it. QURE looks good if you can trade it. And what else? ARNA looks good if you can trade it. Yeah, UNG getting hit. What's up, Milan? Good morning, man. BOIL. You gotta just look at the level 2. Mine shows BOIL is at in between 60.28 and 60.40 per the level 2. It's kind of moving kind of crazy. It's dropping pretty big right now per the level 2. Yeah, we can look at the other level 2 just to confirm that for BOIL. Yeah, currently in between $60.10 and $60.33. Yeah, that's probably the price it was before it closed. It just depends on when they did that scan. But it's showing me it's in between $60 and $60.23 right now. It's dropping right now, though. Alright, guys, we got about 5 minutes, a little bit over 5 minutes left. Like I said, probably watching VIPS, AMD, maybe. ACB, probably. What does the Nightbot say, Eric? When it says 20 per month, it means 20 classes per month. I should probably make that a little bit more clear, I guess. Alright, so let's look at the news. First one I'm going to look up is VIPS. I think that one looks decent. Going to watch that one. Alright, so VIPS is up after Q3 revenue, RMB of 17.8 million versus IBES view of RMB 17.59 million. So a little bit higher Q3 revenue for VIPS. That is making it gap up a little bit more. Interesting here. We'll see what happens. Next one I'm looking up is QURE. And we'll look up A&D in a second, but QURE is the next one. Top line data came out for this one. All patients in that study achieved a therapeutic factor activity, which means fixed level of 31% of normal at 6 weeks after administration. So positive data for QURE. We'll see where that one goes. Also looking at AMD. Somebody said it had good news come out for it. Yeah, they put out a press release about their new graphics card delivering good results. Their new graphics card is the RX 590, a 12nm GPU, esports virtual reality. So interesting. So new graphics card out for AMD makes me a little bit less short biased with it. Also, looking at NIO. Look at NIO just fill this gap. Gapped up to 740s, came back down to 710 already. Looking at ARNA. Gapping up from 32.52 to 39.10. So the company signed a pact with with United Therapeutics, giving United Therapeutics the rights to develop and sell ARNA's late-stage experimental treatment. And so they reached a deal that's making it gap up for ARNA. And that's about it right now. I mean, I see a few other ones moving. NBEV specifically, we can look that one up. That's probably has the most volume in pre-market. First revenue beat. It beat expectations, and it was the first revenue to beat expectations in 6 quarters. Revenue rose on higher demand for core healthcare drinks. So yeah, NBEV had good revenue. So we'll see where that one goes as well. But we got about a minute and a half left until open. But man, look at ACB drop. Look at NIO drop. NIO looks interesting here. I mean, it's dropping and kind of bounced back some, but that closing price of 710 looks interesting here. Alright, so those two areas look okay. For VIPS, we'll see where it goes. AMRH, Netron, let me check it out, man. I'm showing AMRH had Q3 earnings. They filed for an offering of common stock. I mean, I'm not seeing anything about that. All I'm seeing is earnings. But there's the bell. Market's open. Now we got COTY completely filling the gap right at the open. We got AMD dropping some here. PXS rebounding some. Yeah, man, the weather's cold out here in Texas too, man. Looking at VIPS, looking at NIO, AMD, NBEV, COTY, AMRN. Big drop for AMD here. Kind of looks like a fade, but it looks a little bit of a trap because it had good news. We'll see what happens. Gonna let it kind of confirm a trend before I really... Yeah, Mason. My stepdad is from... I appreciate that, Mitch. Sorry, man. Forgot about it. We got Mitch here in the chat. Yeah, here's the intraday scanners. Sorry, guys. I mean, it kind of looks like it could fade, but the only problem is that it's pretty close to this previous high of the day. I just don't want to get squeezed up. May have some resistance there at around 75. But we'll see what happens with it. Appreciate the sub, Stanley. Welcome, man. Appreciate the sub, Rommel. Welcome. VIPS squeeze it back up here. Big run on VIPS. I was looking for this one to fill some of that gap. It has some resistance at 6, and so I think this is an interesting level to watch if it can hold or break over 6, or if it can find support at that previous high pre-market at 588 right there. So going to be watching that one. Yeah, AMD had already kind of followed through with that fade. I got to start watching AMD, man. This is one that fades almost every single day. And so it only makes sense to watch it. See if it actually follows through with it, though. But yeah, Mason, my stepfather's actually from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and I've lived in Canada before. And yeah, it's for sure cold. Look at a COTY here. VWAP's just so low on this one, man. It's interesting. All right, my wife's calling me, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I just wanted to answer it, make sure she was okay. AMD kind of faded already once. We'll see what happens with it. At this point, I'm kind of looking at ACB here. If ACB can get up to 607, I'll take it with the risk of a tight risk. Gonna have to use a little bit bigger sizing with this one, maybe. Just because it has a smaller range. See if we can get up to that 607 area. I tapped it. I don't mind taking it here. All right, so I'm in with 200 shares on ACB. Risk level's tight, 610. Gotta be careful with it. If it breaks 610, I'm just gonna get out. It's about to get up to 610, it looks like. There's 610. Don't want to get caught in the squeeze up. Okay, it broke 610. I'm out. So $13 loss, small loss. Just didn't want to get caught in the squeeze if it did possibly squeeze. AMD faked out too. And so it maybe just be time for a rebound day here for some of these. Not really upset with that plan. I like the plan. I like the 610 risk. And it's breaking over it now. ACB squeezing up too. Kind of looking at AMRN. It's kind of doing the same thing. Let's see. So AMRN, I'd have to set a risk level of 17, which I don't mind. Probably 1704. I could get in with 100 shares of AMRN. Try to let it work. But it's squeezing up there now. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay. I'm going to try this with 100 shares of AMRN. See if it can squeeze down. Because this one's just a tiny risk. I can't help myself with this one. Okay, it squeezed me out. Quick 2 trades. Down 23. No stress. I follow my plan with both of these, and I don't think either one of these were really bad trades. I just think that today is probably a green day in the market. It's a long day. There's been 2 fake outs thus far with the fade, and so with that said, I hate to say it, guys, but I'm probably done for the day. I don't want to force trades. You know. Of course, I'm down. I would like it to be a green day, but I just don't know. if I'm gonna force anything at this point. We'll see if AMRN faked me out, but it broke over that 1704 resistance, and so it kind of broke the pattern already. We'll see if it fakes me out, but I'm probably not going to trade it all anymore today. Just because I was talking about it yesterday. Like, one of my rules is that, especially if I'm having a red day, I need to just follow my 2 trade rule and not force anything. And it looks like really today's a long day. Like, with the market being down a ton in the last 3 days, I think a lot of stuff is just rebounding. And so overall, relative to the account, a small loss. I'm fine with it. But with the market down so much, I'm guessing the market's rebounding some today. Let's look at the SPY. Yeah, SPY's doing the exact same thing. And so yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking at a lot of these. Like, I'm glad I got out of AMRN at the right time. What was the other one? ACB. Definitely got out of ACB at the right time. And so, yeah, it just squeezed me up. AMRN. Yeah, man. That's what I said. It broke my levels. It looked like a good fade. I thought it had a lot of room to come down, but it just broke my levels. And you can see once it breaks my levels, I'm not gonna hold it. Glad I sold it. Got out for a pretty minimal loss relative to how much it's pushed up in the last 2 minutes, and so I'll take it. Stuck to my plan. That's all I can do. Gave myself a risk and reward in the trade. It was positive, and these two just didn't work out. But like I said, I think today's probably going to be a bullish day in the market just because the last few days have been red, and so it's going to rebound a little bit today. And it's just one of those days where everything's faking out. It's actually probably good for the market, though. I'd actually rather see the market rebound some as opposed to just crash. Why are you short biased? I mean, that's just how I trade, man. I like shorting more. I just try to stick with what works. And of course, it didn't work today. But yesterday was basically break even. I was down like $1. But before yesterday, I hadn't lost in over a week. 5-day winning streak. And so, days like this are going to happen. What I have to do on days like today, though, and this was something we went over yesterday, is that a lot of things, what new traders do a lot of the time is that they can't really step away. They feel like they have to prove something, and I don't feel like I have to prove anything. I think my plan was, reasonable. It just didn't work out, and so with that said, I kind of just gotta protect my account. I think what new traders do a lot of the time is that they can't accept the loss, and so they just keep trading and keep trading and keep losing and keep losing until their account's gone. And so, especially if I'm having a bad day, I just gotta stick to my rules. And for that reason, I'm out. To reference Shark Tank. But yeah, really, like if you look at the 2 trades I got into, like both of these just kind of squeezed up crazy, and it looks like the volume's back. But, this thing ended up squeezing, 30-40 cents. And I got out for a $12 loss on one. And then what was that? And then like a $9 loss on the other. So in the grand scheme of things, I minimalized both of these. I followed my levels, and when it broke my levels, they both squeezed up really, really big. And so I'm happy with those exits for sure. It goes back to probabilities, and once it breaks that risk area I gave myself at 1704, the probability of it coming back down is pretty low, and so that's why it's my risk area. Same thing with ACB. But yeah, today, I mean, I don't see anything. Everything on my watch list is moving up right now. Everything. Except for, what did VIPs do? Yeah, everything on my watch list is moving up at this point. Literally everything. There's not one stock on my watch list that is moving down. NIO is starting to give some of it back, but every stock's up on the day. And so today's definitely a bullish day. Yeah, if I was looking at VIPS, it kind of looks like a VWAP bounce here. If it can hold support, the reason I like it is because if you get in around this 590 level, it's built a lot of support there. You can set a tight risk of like 84, 85. So a really tight risk reward level of the high of the day at 608. And so I like the VWAP bounce on VIPs just because it has a tight risk level. We'll see if it works, but that's kind of what I was looking at. I don't like that it's doing this after gapping up because I think it may come back down, but the risk and reward is there. Walter Quigley says, I'm new to this, so my question is, how are you trading for losses and not gains? I mean, I don't really know what you mean by that, Walter. I just took 2 losses, 2 small losses. I mean, losing, nobody's going to be perfect. Losing days and weeks are going to happen, No matter what you do, you're going to lose sometimes, and it's just about how you manage the loss. What our mentality is kind of like give levels to yourself, like find levels, find your reward level where you're going to take profits, find your risk level where you're going to stop out, find your entry, and then stick to those levels. And if you consistently give yourself more than 2 to 1 in the trade, reward to risk, then probabilities are going to play out, and as long as you're relatively accurate, you can be profitable. Oh, shorting. Sorry, guys. So shorting a stock, Walter, is when you make money when the stock goes down, as opposed to making money when the stock pushes up. YECO is just low volume, Mitch. But yeah, so shorting a stock, you make money if the stock goes down, as opposed to it moving up. And so think of it as the opposite of what usually happens. So like when I short a stock, I want it to go down. I make money if it goes down. If I long a stock, that means I make money if it goes up. But the last 2 trades I was shorting. But yeah, definitely a bullish day. Everything on my watch list is pushing up at this point. We'll see what VIPS does. It's kind of fighting with 6. Not a bad little VWAP bounce on AMR in here. Didn't quite get to the VWAP level, but a nice little push up. Washout long. One of the things we teach people about washout longs is that I always want to see it hold support over this previous high. A lot of people would just jump in the washout long here, and it'll just kind of get rejected and come right back down. But I like the fact that it held support after it broke that previous high of the day right here, and then it broke out. That's where, if I was looking at that one, that's probably where I would have liked to get in. But yeah, everything's moving up today. Not great for a shorter like me. PCG, sorry. Yeah, let me check it out. PCG's moving down. And it actually faded nicely here. This is one of the only ones I've seen that's actually moving down. Like, if you look at my watch list, AMRN is moving up. Cron is moving up. NBEV actually took a hit, but it wasn't tradable. ACB moving up. AMD moving up. AMRN moving up. ARNA moving up. NIO moving up. PXS moving up. So just not many shorts today, which is okay. But days like today, I definitely just have to be a little bit selective at this point, just because 2 trades didn't work out. Most of these stocks are moving up, not really following through with the patterns I use, and so gotta just take it slow today. One of those days. Appreciate the sub, Emil and Rebby. Welcome, guys. And Stanley. Appreciate it. KBH. It's getting hit now at this point. Tried to break over to bullish, but got rejected back down. AMD. Yeah, it looks like maybe a VWAP bounce for AMD. So, like, it's like the opposite of a fade. You get a push up, cross over the VWAP, pull back down, and then move back up. We'll see if it does that, but that's what it looks like at this point for me. It's got a battle 21, though. Yeah, VIPs followed through with the bounce too. It's holding above the VWAP. It's in a bullish trend at this point. We'll see what happens with it. SONA. A few people talking about SONA getting halted. Yeah, big move for SONA. AMD broke under the VWAP. It's down to 2081. We got some volume back in the market today, but none of my patterns that I really like are following through. Washout longs are, I guess. You know, I've seen a bunch of washout longs today, really. DPW. Hold on. I mean, DPW is just kind of choppy. There's no volume with it today. The only way you can really analyze it, at least in my opinion, is to look at the daily chart. And I mean, it looks to have some support at 25, but that's kind of all I really see with it. Maybe some room up to 30s, but we'll see. Days like today, I like looking for longer term swing trades. So try to find some overextended stocks on the daily. So let's look. See if they sell put options for him. Possibly, Eric. The only problem is that I think a lot of these are following the overall market, right? And so if you look at the SPY, you know, I think a lot of these are just following the overall market. Not even necessarily Cron, because that's kind of a cannabis stock, but I think a lot of them are following the overall market. And I think the overall market is just a little... the SPY is a little... How can I say it? Not reliable with any pattern that I like at this point. And so it'd be a little bit of a risk, in my opinion, but it's all up to you, man. It's all subjective. Just from what I see, like I like trading washout longs. They kind of followed through this morning. I saw a lot of washout longs, but for the overall SPY, you know, I mean, it tried to break the high of the day, went up some, but came right back down. It's actually below that first candle of the day's high, underneath the VWAP, kind of going back and forth between it. It's just not moving like I'd prefer it to. And so it's tough. You know, you see stuff like AMD, which is kind of faking people out left and right here. You know, moving up, moving back down, breaking underneath the VWAP, and so we'll see. If you wanted to go long on SWCH, where would you get in? If I was trading it, and I don't want to say it because a lot of stuff, the market's kind of giving it back right now. But I guess I would look for it if I was going to trade it. Just my opinion, not liable for any losses you take. You got to make your own assessment of the market, trade responsibly. Do not copy my trades. But if I was going to take it, I'd probably wait for it to get around the VWAP area here of 67. Just at a risk of like 54. Potential reward. Previous high of the day, around 8 is what I would look for. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, have no idea if it would work, but that's what I would look for with SWCH. Like I said, I'd be pretty careful. With the market starting to give it back, these things could start tanking. I know AMD gave a lot of it back already. What else? VIPS kind of acted really choppy. I don't think it's tradable SONA. Yeah, SONA is not tradable. Welcome back, Danny. Yeah, welcome back, Danny. No problem, Harrison. No worries, brother. How's it going? Been a while. Did I miss anything? I mean, not really, Danny. Had a 5-day win streak last week. Didn't have any losing days last week. Friday before that was a winning day as well. This week is kind of so-so. About a one green day, one break-even day, which is really like a loss after commissions, but a small one. And then a losing day today. So not much. I mean, so-so. Last week was a good week. This week's kind of break-even, I should say, in gross profits at least. Cisco. Yeah, Cisco actually looked like it faded really nicely here. Look at Cisco's move. And this is what a fade looks like, guys. I mean, this is really what a fade looks like. Kind kind of a perfect example. A little bit expensive, but I mean it works out. But you can see gapping up stock that gaps up a little bit extended. Then big bearish trend at the open, so a big drop. Quick pullback to the VWAP, not a stair step, but a quick pullback. Follow through, pulled back again. You could add your sizing back, add more sizing, follow through back down. So really nice little fade there on a Cisco. It's probably the best one I've seen today. I mean, they happen decent. They happen a lot in the market. You see VWAP fades happen almost every day. That's why I trade them. But today, specifically at the open, it just wasn't the day for them. A lot of fake outs. I can, Don. I can go the opposite with the VWAP bounce. But like I said, I was talking about this yesterday in my class. One of my rules for myself as a trader, and the stream might not like it, but one of my rules as a trader is I can only trade twice a day. If I'm having a losing day, say I have 2 losing trades, I can only trade twice. I can't get in anything else. It's just a rule that I give myself. If I don't give myself that rule, I'll do what you see a lot of new traders do if I don't give myself that rule, which is I'll keep trading. And I say I take another loss. And then my mentality will be, well, I'm down so much already, I'm just going to take another trade. And then that's going to turn into a bigger loss. And so before you know it, you kind of snowball into just destroying your account, you know? And so to combat that, I give myself these rules. And one of them is, especially on a losing day, I can only trade 2 or 3 times a day. Specifically, if I'm having a losing day, I can only trade twice. And I have to limit myself that market exposure on losing days. Because when I have 2 losing trades like this and the patterns just fake me out, it's kind of the market telling me it's not a good day for my strategy. And I have to recognize that. It's something we talked about yesterday. I don't feel like I have anything to prove. I feel like a lot of times traders feel like they need to prove something. And so like they need to prove that they're profitable traders. And so they just take too many trades. You know, they can't accept a losing day. And so they just force trade after force trade after force trade until their account's gone. And so I just try to give myself that rule. If I have a losing day, it's okay. I stuck to my levels. That's all I can really do, is build a plan, stick to those levels. And that's what I did. And so I'm not really upset about it. Of course, obviously, I'd love to have a winning day. But like I said, last week was a perfect week. No losing days last week. This week's so-so. But I don't feel like I have anything to prove. You know, I just have to stick to my rules that I give myself, because that gives me stability and organization and trading, and that's what you need to have consistency. Yep. Yeah, Anik, that loss is from today, man. This is probably the biggest loss I've taken in like 2 weeks. You know, it's the biggest loss I've taken in 2 weeks. And that's why I'm done for the day. Because what I don't want is to make it bigger. Right, exactly, two-way. Yeah, for sure. One thing I'm proud about, like if you look at my stats from last week, let me find them. And I have to add a few other trades from this, but if you look at my stats from last week, one thing I'm really proud of is that my average hold time for a winning trade was 41 minutes. I thought it was 46, but it was actually 41 minutes is my average hold time for a winning trade. My average hold time for a losing trade is 14 minutes. And so I'm really proud of that stat, actually. It's kind of the cliche in trading. Let your winners run, cut your losses short. And, that's kind of how it is. Um, that's what you got to do sometimes. And so not bad, 75% accuracy last week, but I didn't have any losing days, and so I'm happy with that. But yeah, I mean, losing days are going to happen. Losing weeks are going to happen. It's just about whether you have the emotional stability to accept it and not force it in a market that obviously hasn't been beneficial for your strategy, which is kind of today's like a long day, I think. Kind of a choppy day too. Vips, sure. Vips is just kind of weird. So like the VWAP's a trend indicator, right? And so it was in a bullish trend all the way up here, and it kind of faked people out. It dropped under the VWAP, so it kind of signified a bearish trend for a few minutes, and then it bounced right back above it. And so at this point, it's kind of battling the $6 resistance, and I just don't know. It just looks choppy to me. What, you talking about how I was right with it, Anik? Yeah, it bounced. It bounced at the VWAP. You can see my little plan that I drew here. I didn't take it, but risk level, reward level. So it's currently following through with that plan that I made for it, but we'll see what happens. I got my rule though. I can't trade anymore. Not going to trade anymore. Not going to force it. Yeah, man, the VWAP bounce is a legit strategy. I mean, I don't think it's as accurate as the fade. I think the fade's substantially more accurate than it, but it typically presents you with good risk reward. And if you plan it accordingly, like I kind of mentioned about SWCH, it can be profitable as well. So maybe somebody took advantage of it, but trade idea was correct for the most part. Really, I'd still like to see it get up to that previous high of the day, though. Nice, JR. Hey, congrats, brother. Yes, I did, Rice. Hey, man, that vertical elbow, man, that took him out, man. Crazy, crazy move. Yeah, AMRN. I mean, I'm looking at it. It's tough. Like AMRN is one of those stocks. If that's my lesson, if I learned anything from today, it's that I just need to stay away from AMRN. It just hasn't. It's never done me that right in the market. It's one of those stocks that I just don't have good luck with it. I just don't have good results. If I was looking at it, I would see if it holds this support at 1750 right here. That's what I'm looking at, but looks to be cracking underneath it now. You don't like Chan Sung Young, man? Dude, he's a beast, man. How can you not like him, dude? I didn't care who won that fight. I like both of them. I like Yair Rodriguez and I like Chan Sung Young. I just wanted to see a finish, which we got. Great fight though. I was watching it live when it happened. Cool fight. I appreciate the sub, little man, and Harley. Welcome, and Emil. Appreciate it. What do the white numbers mean? The white numbers, I think, mean in between the spread. orders that get filled in between the spread, I think. Yeah, right. There's certain stocks, Mr. Charts, Todd, that there's certain stocks that I kind of label unreliable, right? And I've been doing this for years, and some of them just follow through with my patterns more. You know, like I said, I started to watch AMD because it looked to be a little bit reliable with the fade. But some stocks are just more reliable than others, in my opinion. You know, some stocks move in a cleaner way with my strategies, and some stocks don't. And AMRN never really has. You know, a lot of times it fakes out. And so if I had one thing I learned today, it's to stay away from AMRN. At this point, I'm just kind of looking at AMRN for a VWAP bounce. I mean, that's what it kind of looks like to me. The only problem is it kind of stair steps down, you know. And with the VWAP fade and you know, and the VWAP bounce, like what I don't want to see with these is like a stair step, right? So like you look at these, and like I like to see a quick move. Like for instance, if you look at CSCO, Cisco here, it had this big bearish trend. This big downward trend. And then it quickly popped up to the VWAP. You know, that's what I want to see. If it stair steps, so like if it goes down and then it kind of stair steps back up, putting in higher lows until it gets to the VWAP, I don't like that at all. I would prefer it to just be, instead of this, I would prefer it to just be big downward trend, quick pop back up to the VWAP, and then a big washout. Because that's still a bearish trend. But when it stair steps, it's kind of a bullish trend, if that makes sense. What do I think, good or bad, if it gets filled between the spread? Or no? Oh, good or bad that you didn't take a position? Lewis, it all just depends on your strategy, man. You know, like if you're a shorter, you know, I wouldn't blame you. You know, it's a little bit of a choppy day. You know, like there's been some fake outs. You know, like some don't look bad, but it just depends on your strategy. You know, if you're a long trader, you may have missed some moves, but if you're a short trader, you know, it may have been wise to step away until very recent. You know, the market just kind of started to give it back. Except for Cisco here. It's been dropping all morning. I appreciate the sub, bad boy. Welcome, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, SWCH, I'm telling you, man, the VWAP bounce is a legit strategy. It works, you know. You can see here, somebody asked me what I thought about it. Where would I enter? And I said I would enter right around this VWAP area at 768. Set my risk of this 750, what is it, 755 level. Set my reward at the high of the day up here. And so it's followed through some. Still not there yet. I mean, I'd like to see it get up to here, but you could have taken profits, I guess, at this point. Alright guys, so I'm going to start looking for some overextended stocks, see what I could find here. Look for maybe some Robinhood trades. Let's see. Yeah, DGAZ testing the high of the day. Now it's an ETF. It might have some resistance at 4 right here. So we'll see what happens. Cron bouncing off the VWAP nicely there as well. CRON. Sitting there, bouncing off the VWAP nicely. And the kind of the conditions I have for the VWAP bounce is pretty simple. I don't want to see an overextended gap up. I want to see some room on the daily chart. Look at that beautiful VWAP bounce. Nice little flag is really what this is. You can see the pole. But you can use the VWAP to determine your entry. But what I like to see is a cross over the VWAP at the open. Pull back to the VWAP. And then move back up. Somebody mentioned this one too. But looked pretty. Yes, I've backtested it some. I haven't fully backtested the VWAP bounce like I have the VWAP fade. The VWAP fade, I've actually finished backtesting it, and this was a few months ago, but it had 73% accuracy. The VWAP bounce, I've backtested about 5 months of it, of the VWAP bounce. I've been kind of busy lately with a lot of different stuff, so I haven't actually finished backtesting the VWAP bounce, but in those 5 months, it had about a 58% accuracy rate. So a positive accuracy rate, not as high as the VWAP fade, but if you combat that with good risk and reward, it can definitely be profitable. And so, the accuracy rate's a little bit lower, but it's definitely still positive. Anything over 50% is still legitimate. And so it's just about, at that point, it's just about finding it with positive risk and reward. So like if you look at Cron, just to show you an example, you get in around the VWAP here, 830s, 830. You can set a risk of 820 right here, where this previous resistance was, previous support was. Set a reward level of previous high of the day, so 855. You get in here. Your risk is 10 cents. Your reward is 25 cents. But I'd actually probably rather take my first reward target at 50 instead of 55, just in case it gets rejected at the $0.50. But big reward, small risk. It's kind of what I look for. This is kind of a flag pattern though. But kind of what I always say is that the more strategies that are going on at the same time, the more momentum it's going to have in your direction. Because some traders are watching this for the flag. Some traders are watching this for the VWAP bounce. And when they're both together, it just gives it much more momentum to move up. And it makes sense if you think about it. Yeah, I actually watched his one of his videos this morning. It was on my recommended videos two-way. The float, yeah, I'll look at the float. The reason I like the float, right? I like smaller float stocks. They don't have to be ridiculously small. Like I'm not going to trade a float that's under 1 million, but I like a little bit smaller of floats because if the float's too high, it's going to be a lot harder for that stock to make a move. It's going to be a lot harder a lot of the time for the patterns to actually fulfill because there's so many shares available to the public that it's kind of drowned out in it. And so I tend to look for smaller float stocks, but they don't have to be ridiculously small. Like I'd trade it if it had like a 50 million, 50, 100 million float, I'd still consider relatively small. But if it gets up there and it's got like 1 billion in the float, then I'm probably not going to trade it just because they never really follow through. Yeah, I have a 9-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. Yeah, look at SWCH, man. I mean, it was there. Hope somebody took advantage of it, called it out. And again, you can see, like, this is what we try to show people is that risk, tiny, reward, big. And so it was there. UGAZ. Anton, I know UGAZ is a ETF. Um, I mean, it kind of had a little pre-market fade here. Like, so instead of it happening at the open, you could see bearish trend, pull back to the VWAP, fade back down. But it kind of happened in pre-market. At least the original drop happened in pre-market. So too expensive for my taste though. But it's an ETF. You got that. You have some liquidity at least. Nice, Netron. Congrats, brother. Nice work, man. Thomas, A&L. It's not showing up on my charts, man. There it goes. A&L. Let's see if it pops up now. Yeah, it's just not showing up. Yeah, at that point, Kron already followed through with the bounce. I would have taken profits at that previous high of the day if I was in it, but we'll see. A little choppiness now. But yeah, there's the follow through with SWCH. I know somebody said they took advantage of it, but nice little risk reward there. Maybe I'll start trading a little bit more longs. I think I need to, if I had a hole in my game, I need to identify, maybe wait a little bit after the open before I jump in trades. Now my trading's been pretty consistent. I've definitely had more green days lately than red, but on days like today, not that I have FOMO, but it's definitely a long day, and so my short patterns aren't going to be in play as much. And my long patterns work, obviously. Like when I built a thesis around a trade like I did with SWCH, it followed through, and it was correct. If anybody heard me mention this one, it definitely worked, but same thing with Kron. But it's kind of one of those things like Bruce Lee says it's best to practice one type of kick 1,000 times than practice 1,000 different types of kicks one time. And so that's kind of what my mentality on it. I just try to master a strategy and then move on to something else. And I feel like I've done pretty well with the VWAP fade. It may be time to start taking some VWAP bounces because I've been seeing there's a lot in the market. Yeah, man, and this is what happens. This is why I look for overextended stocks. And Cisco is kind of a little bit outside of my price range, but this is my entire strategy with these overextended stocks. Like this is just a good example, right? Like this is a great example of the VWAP fade, right? Like what I typically look for is overextended gap. You can see it's gapping up, a pretty big amount relative to how much it usually moves. Big gap, a lot of volume. And then the next day, it just tanks. Why does this tank? It's because it's gapping up so much. I think the momentum's on the downside. Let's look at the daily chart to see if that confirmed it. I mean, tough, but didn't look bad for sure. Kind of what I look for. Some of the conditions when I back tested the VWAP fade, the conditions that I looked for were 1, I looked for overextended gap ups. 2, I looked for overextension on the daily chart. And 3, I looked for a big drop at the open with high volume. Why it's important to have a big drop in the morning with high volume is because once it climbs back up to the VWAP after a big drop, there's going to be some bag holders holding the stock on the upside once it gets up to the VWAP. And it may be a little bit extended. Plus, it also gives you a tight risk once it climbs back up to the VWAP. And so I guess my mentality is once it gets back up there, the momentum's on the downside because it's extended from that climb back up to it. And so that's kind of the conditions I used when I back tested it. Cass, I sent you an email back, man. I got your email, brother. I sent it back to you. Yeah, Kron's still moving. Nice little flag pattern there. But yeah, like I said, guys, I'm probably not trading anymore today. And so... Here, I'll message you again, man. Alright, I just sent you another one. Yes, that's most likely what it is, Alex, is that people that rode it from the gap up are taking profits at the open, but it still turns it into a bearish trend regardless, you know? You know, you can see like CSCO gapped up, big drop at the open, and then faded really nicely, you know? It's essentially a gap fill strategy, but I look for it to fade off the VWAP a little bit. Yeah, Matthew, I'm using my Turtle Beach headphones from Xbox. And yeah, Alex, all I can really say is like when a stock gaps up, most of the time it comes back down. Of course, there's outliers, but a large majority of the time, I would say when a stock gaps up, it comes back down. Especially with the price range of stocks that we're trading, or that I'm trading, which are usually a little bit worse companies. So scalping strategies, Anik. I mean, it's tough to tell. I'm not really much of a scalper. Maybe dip buys. You know, dip buys, VWAP bounces. Maybe if you're just trying to get 5 to 8 cents. I mean, no, Matt, the 3 day thing's over with, man. I could send you yesterday's class if you didn't make it, Matthew, but the 3 day free thing's done with. We just did it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah, that's kind of one of the sectors that I don't really see that much, Danny. Or that's one of the sectors I don't really know too much about, is the crypto sector. I used to trade crypto stocks like DPW, MARA, when they started running late last year, but yeah, I'm probably just going to close it down soon, guys. I don't see too much I really like. Not going to force anything else. Just kind of let the stream go in so we can all chat. But got to learn to step away when it's not my day. I didn't intentionally mean to rhyme there. But yeah, probably done for the day, guys. Oh, options? Yeah, we could look at some here, man. Scalping, Matthew? If you're serious asking what it is, scalping is typically when you jump in with larger sizing, trying to take advantage of quick swings in the price and then exiting soon, only holding it for a few seconds to minutes. Big size, trying to take big gains off of smaller moves is what scalping is. But yeah, so we can look. Let me look at my watch list from the last few days. I can look at a few options here, see what we can find. Gonna look at the daily chart a lot of the time with these. I don't mind TAHO. It's not super extended, but that gap made it a little extended. Let's look to see what they have for it. Man, who is selling these options, man? Ridiculous prices. Somebody's selling an option for $40 on the chance that Tahoe is going to come back down to 12 cents today. What? Who is making these options, man? I don't mind this one. This one's not that bad. That's what the daily chart looks like. Let me look up the rules on this though, or the news. If this is a buyout, I don't want to toy with it. Let me look up the news really quick. Oh, it's an acquisition. I'm probably not going to mess with it. I appreciate the subs. J-Rod, HCS, and Jerry. What's up, guys? Appreciate it. Yeah, I got it. Who is this? Cass. I got your email, man. I mean, I still don't necessarily hate it. TAHO. It's a December 21st put option. So if it drops down to $2.92, I mean that's an 8-cent. That's an $8 option for $2.92. So just right here. That's definitely reasonable. I'll go ahead and do it. That's $8 I'm going to buy. It's just too cheap. I can't. I can't resist that one, man. I got a month to see if this thing drops 10% in a month. I could definitely take that for TAHO. See if I got filled. I did. Cool. We'll look at stuff. That was a pretty cheap option, so I'm just going to look at other stuff here. See what else we got. Sounds reasonable, addedly. Sounds pretty reasonable. Craig Duke, thoughts on UGAZ? Man. If that's not a gap fill, I don't know what is. Yeah, I mean, this thing just gave it all back. What did the SPA do? What kind of ETF is this? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I see a lot of stuff starting to give it back here. The SPA is starting to come down. Alright, so let's look at what else. We got Tahoe. Let's look at some of the dailies on some of the CHK, NIO. Sorry, my wife had to ask me something. Just looking at some of these movers on my watch list from the last few days. Looking at the daily chart, see if I can find some extension here. They gotta be cheap though, because the cheaper they are, the cheaper the option. I mean, I'm not seeing too much I really like. I mean, I don't mind that one I took on Tahoe. You know, Tahoe. This option was $8. This this bundle of options was $8, and all it's really got to do is get down to 292 right here. I think that's reasonable for a month's time. The option was $8, John, on Robinhood. It was $8 option on Robinhood. It was $8. The strike price is $2.92, so pretty small. Got a month. It's a December 21st option. Yes, you can, Young. Almost all the ETFs from what I see. So like if I pull this up here, all right, I pull up Trade Manager. Can you all see that? If I pull up Trade Manager and look at some of these ETFs, UVXY, TVIX, DGAZ, UGAZ, VXX. The point is, a large majority of ETFs you can trade on TEFs. Almost all of them, from what I see. Just because they typically have pretty good volume. But yeah, you could trade the SPY, VXX. You know, most. If you have one you want me to check, I can. JNUG, JDST. I'm pretty sure you can. JNUG you can. And JDST you can't. Weird. That's the only. That's the only. It just has low volume is most likely why. The volume's low for JDST, but JNUG you could. Yeah, that is strange why one isn't and one isn't. Yeah, I mean, hey, John, oh man, you can't lie with that price, bro. Like, I mean, here's the thing: it's probably not going. It just got bought out, and so I'm guessing it's probably going to go back up. But for $8, having the potential to win substantially more than that if TAHO hits the goes just tanks. All it's got to do is drop 10%. That's an irresistible option for me. And I don't know what the people selling options on Robinhood are really doing. I saw some crazy ones. There was one that was like a 12-cent option for TAHO that they're trying to sell for like $50. Pay $50 for the chance that TAHO is going to get under 12 cents in the next day. I don't know who's pricing their options, what they're doing, but hey, let them do what they do. I guess somebody might be dumb enough to buy that option, but all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close it down. I'll go ahead and post my links as well. Shout out to Trade Ideas. They're cool enough to let me stream their scans. I'll post their link is here. I'll post their link here as well. But yeah, shout out to Trade Ideas. If you're interested in checking out a scanner for stocks, you can see I have Trade Ideas here. Really cool customizable scanner. Lets you do a lot of different stuff regardless of what your niche is. And what I really like is you can really legitimately build your own scan with these. Working on a VWAP fade scan, but go check them out. I'll post that link if anybody wants to see Trade Ideas. There's the link. Also, if you are interested in signing up to TradeNet, the broker I use, I have a link that gets you 10% off. I think people pretty know I'm pretty honest about it, but if you're interested in signing up, you can get 10% off going through this link. And it's one of the ways we keep the stream free, and so I appreciate it if you do. But yeah, not a good day. Stuck to my levels. That's all I can really do. And so, hey, losing days are going to happen. I'm not really too upset about it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, no stress, Netron. But yeah, guys, have a good day. We'll see you all later.